So right now we're getting ready to paint the VX9 Bumblebee stripe on the 70 Challenger Sunroof Car. I got the original template sitting right next to it, so I know exactly where to put it. While we're working on that, I got Josh out disassembling the 8 3/4 rear end housing out of the 71 CUDA BS23H car. I've left him with some specific instructions. He's getting a little bit better each time about following those instructions. And if he does, I'll end up with a page of notes showing what the markings are that are on the housing that still exist from 1971. This is gonna be a great experience for him to learn how to do that and why it's important. So it's calling out 6 1/4 from the edge of the deck lid at the very center point approximately.
Well, that's longer than you ever had.
It takes a great deal of concentration. It takes a great deal of savvy, which I have. And it takes a great deal of not screwing around, which is impossible for Darren. And then 5.5 inches total at the edge. So then we're gonna have to lay some markers out on it, I think.
Okay. You ever done this before?
I should have put the Bumblebee on before we did the base clear. It should be underneath the clear.
So what are you gonna do now?
I'm just gonna put it on the top of it. When you got a Bumblebee stripe on the back of one of these Dodge Challengers, or many of the cars they did this same thing with, they would paint over the footprint of where the black paint would go, or the white paint, or whatever color the stripe is. Then they would mask the stripe up, the area they want to save, and they would bring color up to that masking point. In this case, I thought it got the longitudinal stripe on it, which is a decal, and I was just gonna put it on later. But now that I realize it's a V9X, that it's the Bumblebee stripe and it's a painted on stripe, I'm just gonna put our stripe on over the top of the paint instead of under the paint like they did at the factory.
Where do you get them funny glasses at? Jesus, there you never done this? You want, buddy?
Yep. Okay.
I like it when we get along.
Now touch it in the middle, please. Thank you. Those are right on our numbers right there. So basically, so far we have the deck lid laid out. That's probably the hardest part of the job because that's where you build off of. The 2 quarters, the left and the right quarter, they come off of wherever you've made your line. So we'll take the 2 quarter panels, get the stripes laid out, get it all back masked, get the car covered, and we're ready to shoot color. Okay, now all it's a matter of doing is just, I got all these on, both sides. So all I have to do now is just tighten everything up and make sure that we can spray black paint on it.
Which guy's up to?
What are you doing? You needed to take the rear end apart. So here's the thing, and you're right, because when I said that earlier today, I made the mistake of not checking for understanding. I keep telling myself, I've got to check for understanding, and especially with guys like Josh, because you know what I'm saying? Not all, it's a lot of pops and buzzers up there. I want you to disassemble the 71 CUDA rear end, document all the assembly line markings, okay? You got that?
Right.
And then lay all the parts out, label them, and prepare for the cleaning and reassembly of it.
Okay.
Can you handle that?
I can handle that.
What can you handle?
Disassembly of the rear end.
Huh? Say it again.
I'm going to go and disassemble the rear end.
From what? From a Dodge truck? From an old Dodge military truck?
No, from the 71 CUDA.
Very nice. And are you gonna pay any attention or just rip it apart and throw it on the ground?
Well, no, I'm gonna document everything.
If you don't understand, ask me and I'll explain it to you again. But don't nod and agree and say you're gonna do it, but you have no idea what you're agreeing to.
I don't mean to do this, but I get what you're saying, and I'm not trying to block you out, but it's just doing it on its own.
Okay.
I'm really
Why don't
sorry.
you go do it and we'll all get along fine.
We'll give him a big group hug in a little bit.
Yeah, we will.
So I have all of the stripes laid out. They're pressed down. Everything's masked out around it. So all I really have left is to put the plastic on the car, scuff where I'm gonna paint, and start spraying it.